When should you talk to your children about sex? I'm asked this an awful lot, and I think my answer surprises people. So, in general, I would say in the UK, where I am, people tend to wait until their child is towards the end of primary school or the beginning of secondary school till they decide to say something. But my answer is as soon as possible. In fact, there would never be a time that I wouldn't talk about sex. So from the minute a child is old enough to have those conversations. So I don't mean that I'm going to sit a 1-year-old down with a book about the birds and the bees and try and explain it to them, but I would always be open and honest. So things like nudity around children and explaining what different body parts are and what they're for. And if they go to the toilet with you, what a period is, why that happens. But just to be completely open, honest and frank from day one. How a baby's born, how a baby is made, how did the cat get pregnant. If you have those conversations right from the very off, when your child asks you, which is generally the best thing, rather than deciding to sit them down and have a conversation, my general advice is always to have those organic questions and answer sessions as they arise, because then there's no awkwardness. The child doesn't ever have to get embarrassed, and you don't ever have to sit down and think, oh gosh, how do I start this? So really, from as early as possible. There are some really great books out there that you can utilize as well. And again, I would get the ones with factual words that have the correct names for genitals, that call them a penis and a vulva, and not some sort of strange like willy and front bottom or whatever. Use the correct terminology from the off. Use the books that you think, this is a little bit weird, I'm not sure my child should really read that. They're the books that you want. Be factual, be honest, be open. It's simple biology. Biology isn't embarrassing. And the earlier you do it, the easier it is for everybody as they get older. What if you have an 8, a 9 or a 10-year-old and you haven't had those conversations yet? Again, ideally they would open up organically when you're questioned, but if not, then I would absolutely go and buy a book that is intended for children, so sort of like a puberty book, and that will have some conversation starters. And if initially the two of you feel a little bit uncomfortable face to face, maybe you can have a little book where you write each other questions and answers in. If you'd like some more tips about speaking about sex and puberty and all of that, when you already have a sort of 7 or 8-year-old or older, my book Between is all about those tween years and navigating parenting through puberty. But ultimately, as early as possible, it is never too early to talk about sex and to be open about it in your family. Anyway, I'd love to hear your comments. When did you find out as a child, and when did your children learn about sex? Leave me a comment below. And then the other thing is I release a video every week that talks about all things to do with gentle parenting. I'm the author of 16 books about parenting, so I cover pretty much everything. Hit the subscribe button and you'll get a notification when I post next. Thanks for tuning in.